Forget everything you thought you knew about personal development. It's not about adding, it's about incinerating. Let's dive into the albedo stage, an alchemical process of radical purification that demands the demolition of your ego and a solitary confrontation with your deepest illusions. Only then can true inner wisdom be born, freeing you from the constant internal battle. Have you ever felt like you're fighting an invisible battle? A constant inner noise, endless distractions. We call this the silent inner war of modern times. This is the manifestation of a fragmented self, trapped between what the soul knows and what the ego wants to project. The path of inner transformation we propose today is not passive self-help. It is a dive into the alchemy of the soul. In the ancient Hermetic tradition, albedo, the whiteness or purification, is the moment of washing the matter, of strategically removing what no longer serves your true self. It is the active, and often solitary, stripping away of illusions and external noise. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung, who dedicated his life to the study of psychological alchemy and the individuation process, saw the albedo stage as the phase of confronting the shadow and integrating the unconscious, achieving a pure clarity. It's not about accumulating knowledge, but about revealing the pure self, capable of perception and liberation. What if the restlessness you feel were actually an invitation from your soul to the fire of purification? The answer to this removal lies in the alchemy of the self. And the furnace for this transformation is the cauldron of our own consciousness. In its symbolic essence, the albedo stage is the radical purification of consciousness. Think of your mind as a murky lake. Albedo is the stillness that allows all the mud from the bottom, fears, inherited beliefs, judgments, to settle, revealing the clear water. Jung taught us that the journey toward self-knowledge and the awakening of consciousness is not the search for the new, but the reconnection with what is essential. This stage is the watershed between the performative life and the alchemized life. The purification here is not moral, but ontological. It is the stripping away of identifications. I am not my job. I am not my suffering. I am not what is expected of me. It is the birth of inner wisdom that is not confused with information. It is the moment when consciousness becomes pure, free from the silent war we fight when the ego battles the soul. It is the clarity to discern the truth of your needs from mere external pressures. This journey requires courage. The poet and philosopher Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." The albedo process forces us to face the wounds and veils, transforming pain not into punishment, but into a teacher. All emotional healing and spiritual awakening depend on this phase of cleansing, of detachment from old structures. What if the need for personal development isn't to add more light, but to remove everything that prevents the light that is already within you from shining? Imagine your consciousness as a cauldron, a crucible. The albedo stage is the intense heating process that burns away the impurities, social expectations, inherited limiting beliefs, and especially the elaborate defenses of the ego. We are talking about the stripping away of the false self. The false self is an armor built to survive, but it prevents life from flowing. It manifests in perfectionism, the incessant search for validation, or a rigid self-image. Albedo purification is not comfortable. It is an often solitary journey of confronting your shadows and prejudices head-on, leading to genuine clarity. Jung reminds us that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The cauldron of purification is the laboratory where we confront what the shadow hides. It is identifying the voice that sabotages us, the fear that paralyzes us, the mask we wear socially, not to condemn ourselves, but to integrate. For this, the practice is conscious introspection. It is stopping and asking, is this pain mine, or is it the repetition of a family pattern? Is this desire from my soul, or is it a social pressure? Inner silence and listening to the soul are necessary to recognize what needs to be incinerated. You are not broken. You are in transformation. Like gold, your pure essence needs to pass through the fire so that the dross separates. Letting go is like opening the hands from an invisible knot that held the heart. As the external noise and ego defenses diminish, a powerful stillness arises. Here we enter the core of albedo, the fertile void. This void is not absence. It is filled with possibilities, the womb of the invisible, fertile ground for impartial self-discovery. Modern life actively discourages true solitude, because intentional solitude is a revolutionary act. It prevents us from being conditioned by the collective. Recovering solitude is the prerequisite for the birth of intuition and silent wisdom. Khalil Gibran expresses this truth when he writes, "He who is alone seeks his own path, and in that path he shall find wisdom." Intentional periods of distance, free from the need for external validation, are essential. In solitude, which is different from isolation, the soul has space to speak. It is where presence deepens and silence stops being a threat to become the guardian of spiritual truth. It is in the silence of the cave, the archetype of introspection, that consciousness realigns. True intuition doesn't shout. It whispers in the void created by detachment from the external. It is the wind, archetype of intuition and the breath of the spirit, moving in the space that has been cleaned. Set aside 15 minutes a day. Sit without your phone, without a book, without music. Just observe. Allow stillness to be your inner temple. It is your moment of kindness with the now, where the soul is not in a hurry. For it is only in this conscious void, free from the world's hurry, that the seed of true wisdom can finally germinate. Albedo culminates in the birth of inner wisdom. This wisdom is not the accumulation of facts. It is the awakening of an intuitive intelligence, a direct knowledge that transcends logical processing and external authority. The purified self becomes a channel for authentic understanding, which Jung called individuation, the ability to make decisions aligned with your deepest truth and not with fear or social conditioning. You begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. Your biology responds to your spirituality. The changes are tangible. Decision-making is cleaner, relationships become truer, and general well-being flourishes because this pure wisdom guides your path. It is no longer the blind search for meaning. It is the meaning of life emerging from within. This wisdom is the mirror, the archetype of self-knowledge and consciousness that no longer reflects the world, but rather your pure essence. You become the river, archetype of fluidity, that teaches effortless flow. Inspiring quote, Carl Jung stated, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You, transformed by albedo, transform the energy field around you." The albedo journey is not a destination, but a continuous process of refinement. It's not about achieving perfection, but about embodying this state of liberation daily, living a life free from internal conflicts. It is the maintenance of the state of clarity that allows you to navigate the complexities of the modern world with grace, resilience, and true freedom. The key is voluntary simplicity. It is remembering that silent wisdom is always available. All you have to do is return to your center. Join us on this journey of continuous purification. It is through this conscious stripping away that we truly reclaim our pure essence and awaken our inner brilliance. Albedo is proof that the greatest revolution is silent and happens within your chest. All healing begins where you stop fighting what you feel. Inspiring conclusion and reflective question. You have the chance to choose spiritual truth instead of the illusion of the ego. You can exchange the silent war for inner peace. What if the next step in your reconnection with the self is, in fact, a simple and profound cleansing? I invite you to a brief silent contemplation. Close your eyes for an instant, breathe deeply. As you exhale, visualize that you are symbolically releasing a layer. It could be an expectation, a fear, a judgment. Inhale presence, and as you exhale, release the weight of the false self. Repeat this 3 times, feeling the relief of this momentary detachment. This is the natural rhythm of albedo in action. Take this feeling of lightness and clarity into your day. If you felt touched by these words, I invite you to take the next step on this journey of self-knowledge. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to nurture this newly lit flame and continue walking with us on the same frequency. Leave your experience in the comments. Your sharing is also a seed of healing for other hearts. If you are looking for a safe harbor, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. And to continue expanding your sanctuary of clarity, we suggest the video in the card. May it be a new source of inspiration, peace and light.